All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Meeting has been noticed to Evans Print and Media Group, WCOW Radio, Magnum Radio, La Crosse Tribune, Sparta City Hall, and Sparta Free Library. Mr. Russ, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, we would like to pull item 2B, which is the SASD school counselor report, and 4B, which is discussion and possible action to approve our E-rate projects at this time.
All right, 2B and 4B. Thank you, Mr. Russ. With those changes to the agenda, I would request a motion to adopt the agenda. I have a motion from Mr. Hendricks. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Mr. McKenna. All in favor? Aye. All right, if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Mr. Russ, if you could just state our SASD mission statement, please.
Yes, our mission statement is to educate all students academically, emotionally, and socially to inspire curiosity and resilience.
Thank you very much for that. Item 1F, public input session. Mr. Mike Roddick. The floor is yours. Just make sure that microphone's got a green light on it there.
And hold it long enough to start my life. So I just really wanted to, I mean, you guys accepted my resignation last month. And you can teach an old dog new tricks, but I planned on being here last month, so I was really proud of myself for being here at 6:50. But you guys changed the time, not just the day, but the time to 6 o'clock. So I just wanted to thank all of the students and families, all of our assistants and cooks and custodians and teachers, all the athletes I've coached, and all of our central office staff who've helped me throughout the years, and my administrative colleagues for helping me be I'm just going to say it, a half-assed principal. So, but people made me, I don't know, this is hard for me, but the people in the Sparta community and the people I worked with made me a better person like every day. And so I really, really appreciate that. And I also want to thank the Board of Education because they've been good to me through all the years as well. So that's what I got for you. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from Mr. Roddick there? You don't get off that easy, Mike. Anything the board would like to state?
Thank you very much, Mike, for everything, sincerely.
If may I
Go
just
ahead.
say,
Yeah, absolutely.
I also just want to say thank you so much, Coach. You made a difference.
One of my favorite teachers, Mr. Roddick there. So appreciate the education, appreciate the friendship over the many years, and congratulations. All right. Is there any other public input, Mr. Russ? Okay, perfect. All right, item 2A, the robotics team report. Mr. Lee and Mr. Gonke.
Good evening. I'm just going to come right out front and say I am a substitute. I gave the kids the night off. This is their presentation. I will try to do it justice, but I make no promises. Next slide. So our team here in Sparta, Wisconsin is part of a global organization. The organization is FIRST, which stands for the recognition and inspiration of science and technology. Again, it is a global organization. There are teams all over the US, where it originated, but we also have teams in Mexico, Canada, Europe, Turkey, Israel, Australia, China, you name it, there's probably a team there. Every year we get a new challenge. And every year the kids they meet that challenge and they succeed at it. Next slide. We are also part of a more local organization called the Seven Rivers Robotics Coalition. This is currently made up of 10 different robotics teams within FIRST, all within the areas from us in Sparta all the way over to Houston, Minnesota, from Winona all the way down to Westby. So a pretty wide range. And the goal of our coalition is to give these kids the additional support of not only their teammates on their team, but the teammates on all the other teams in the area. Our team works with other teams. If we have a coding problem, a mentor from another team might come and help us. If another team has an electrical problem, I might go and help them. And that's part of the coalition's goal. The scrimmage we had this past weekend was also part of that initiative, is to give our teams an advantage at competition by knowing their robot already works, knowing that it's already been on a field and is able to do what it's supposed to do. Next slide. More than that. First requires some things of the students that go above and beyond just the competition. Our team does a lot of in our district and community. Some of the things that they do is to some of the other schools, Southside, Meadowview, Herman, Maplewood, as well as some of the private schools in town, to talk to them about robotics, to talk to them about science and technology. Our team also volunteers for STEM camp. We usually have about a dozen team members will come and work with the STEM camp teachers to work with those students, to be an assistance in the classroom, as well as to do some outreach there too. They'll bring the robot and show them how it works at STEM camp. And we're continually working on that. We're continually looking for bigger, better, further things. How about that? Ooh, yeah, that one works a lot better. So outreach is part of FIRST. And we'll keep doing it. We'll keep doing it. We'll keep including more of it, different types. There are teams that go to Africa to work on water filtration systems. There are teams that go to South America to help plant new trees where they've been deforested. And so we're just kind of at the beginning strokes of some of that larger community outreach. Next slide. So what happened this last weekend is we had our week 0 scrimmage, a week late, but it's better late than never. And we had the entire coalition come to this building. We were over in the gyms, both gyms, to play this year's game. We set up a competition size and regulation field. We have an FTA, which I don't expect you to understand, but it's the person that runs the actual competition. We have an FTA come and run the event. The teams work, they bring their pits where they work on the robots. Our team also set up concessions, ran that. And generally, like I stated earlier, it is to give the team an idea of where they're at with their robot before actually going to competition. These robots typically cost in the average of $5,000 to $10,000 to build a year. And so they want to make sure that, the robot does what it's supposed to before they actually go to a match that counts. Next slide. Our meeting times. Our team meets year round. We meet in the off season, which is typically April through the summer and all the way up to December. The kids meet anywhere from 2 times a week to once a month during the summer. During the off season, we focus on things like training. What are all the electrical components? How do we cut aluminum? How do we wire electrical things together and make sure that it works? How to program, yes, how to program the different computer languages. But we also do some team building and bonding exercises. We do, bowling nights and we go canoeing and things like that, just because we're more than just this competitive team. We are essentially a family. And so that's the off season. When it comes to build season, that happens January, February, and then competition season is in March. During the competition season, our team puts in approximately 30 hours minimum a week in the lab working on their robot. This is outside of school hours, or the academic hours, I should say. Our club days also, when we meet during build season, we have a strict mandatory hour from 3 to 4 p.m. that all team members are focusing on their homework and their academic studies. Again, that is another kind of step of first that we build in, is that not only do you have to be successful on the field, but you have to be successful in the classroom as well. We hold the students on the team accountable, just like any other sport. If they're struggling with their grades, if they're not passing classes, they're not eligible to go to the competitions. So by incorporating this time, we see it as allowing the students to improve their academic goals if they're not in good standing. And it is also another way for the team members to bond. We have groups that study together. We have older upperclassmen that will mentor or tutor the underclassmen if they're struggling. Next slide. I love this graph that they used right here. I did not ask them to do this, but I was very amazed when I saw it. So this graph right here is showing you how much tech ed experience our team has. The blue 47.5%, are students that have taken 1 or more years of technology education classes since 8th grade. The red and the orange are those students that have less than 1 year of training in the technology education area. Our team has more students not tech ed bound, or what's the word I'm looking for? The non-traditional tech ed student. Yet they're able to come up and build a working robot every season. This is something that I am striving for. This is something that I love to see. Because you don't need to know how to use a wrench to be a part of this team. We have students that are working on marketing. They literally wrote a business plan for the team. We have students that design our logos. The shirts that we're wearing, that was a logo that was drawn up by a student. Our programmers, no tech ed experience, but they can work with Java or Python programming to make this thing work. It is astounding what students are able to do when given the opportunity and chance to do that. And I love that this graphic shows exactly that. Next slide. So our team this year has also grown. Some of you that have been on the board in the past, we have had typically around 12 students actively engaged within the team. Outside of our 6 board members, we have 29 other students on the team this year for a total of 35. We tripled our numbers in 1 year. Most of those, if not all of those new members, are freshmen. They're freshmen, they're finding a place that they think they fit. And as of right now, I can honestly say every single one of them belongs. They all do their part, they all integrate and work as a team. And if they have questions, they feel comfortable enough to seek out the help that they need while they're in our lab. Next slide. Our community support has been phenomenal. One thing that I've always been very appreciative of is that the district recognizes and supports us just as much as the community does. That is almost unheard of with other robotics teams, even in our local area. But up there, you can see again, we're not looking at just sponsors from industry. We're looking at sponsors from everywhere. The community sees the need, they see what these students are doing, and they're trying to strive and help us to, a couple a couple decided to come in anyways. Anyways, the sponsor outpouring has been awesome. We've been able to go to multiple competitions now, and we could not do that without the support of our sponsors. We could not do that without the support of you guys as a Board of Education. They make things happen, you make things happen, and I think you should be very proud of what these students are doing. They've been doing a phenomenal job. Next slide. So upcoming competitions, we have a couple of them. Our first one is going to be in Iowa. We go down to Cedar Falls and we participate in the Iowa Regional. There will be 58 teams there this year. We will be one of those teams. So our robot will compete against 5 other robots on the field in about a dozen different matches throughout a 3-day event. The next competition after that is actually right down the road in La Crosse. It's the Seven Rivers Regional. And again, same deal. There's going to be, I believe right now, there's 53 teams signed up for that event. And hopefully between Iowa and Seven Rivers, we earn a spot in going to the championships, which is in Houston, Texas. At Houston, there are 12 fields set up and there's over 800 teams in attendance. So our goal is to get there between one of those 2 regional events. Next. All right, I think with that, I'm going to step aside and maybe let these 2 see what they have to say.
I'm Charles Temsky. We thought it started at 6:30, so sorry for coming in a little bit late. I've been a part of the team for the past 4 years, and I've been the longest serving member. I'm the current co-president, and I've had a lot of fun experiences, not only going to Iowa, but here in Sparta, hosting Week 0 scrimmage and one again last year. And I think it's been a fun opportunity, and I've really grown as a person, not only through public speaking and talking to people like you and other people not even in our area, but also through robotics, engineering, electrical, and all the stuff that goes into being part of a robotics team. I think it's helped me grow, and I think with more people getting into robotics, especially with our large freshman upcoming class this year that helped us with our team, we will be able to make a huge difference in the Sparta area and continue to grow. Christian?
Hopefully I can reach this. I'm not too sure. A little short, but I am Christian Perez. I am a junior at Sparta High School. I am part of this team and I've been part of this team for 3 years. I have had experience in the robotics area with the STEM program here at the middle school. It has been I have enjoyed myself so much being part of this team and growing with them. Seeing Charles as well growing as well as a co-president, same with our other co-president, Charlie Anderson. Learning the programming, the electrical, the multimedia, the marketing, every single department has been amazing and I've learned so far. Also being part as a Hispanic as well, being part of here, I want more people that are, non-American, want them to grow and see the difference that I've made and making sure they can come up and say, hey, look at this person here. He has done a difference. I want to be like him, if not better. That is the difference I want to make. And I've been making that so far, just being who I am, being a translator for whoever. It's been amazing and I love it. I would recommend anyone, no matter who you are, to join this team because you will always learn something from it.
Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. Any questions, comments from board members at all?
Wow, you make me want to join the team. Thank you all so very much. Mr. Lee, I just want to say the community that you're building is incredible. It matters and will go out and help the students. They're learning skills within this community that will help go out, will allow them to go out. I'm sorry, I'm like feeling emotional here. Will allow them to go out and help us build our actual community in the world. Thank you so much. It's incredible. I'm really excited for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lopez. Any other questions, comments? Mr. Hendricks, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I'm curious, give us a little description of what went really well and what didn't go so well this weekend.
Well, it can be different ways of saying it because different people, different experiences, but from what I would say, to be fair, I think it went well. Having communication with different teams, especially with their own team as well as it's expanding, I'd say it went well. People loved I love the atmosphere that was there. People love the atmosphere that was there. Just seeing robots going against each other, seeing teams communicate with each other. That is an experience everyone wants to experience. And that's my personal opinion. I'm not sure about them, but I would say they would agree as well. And, in our team would agree.
I absolutely agree with them. We had a great overall turn up. So many people seemed to really enjoy it. And I had many parents come over and be like, this is really interesting. I can't wait for my kids to come over and do this in the future. Something we would have loved to have done better is to have our robot working a little bit more. As you might have saw, we were only out there for a couple matches, but we had some unfortunate wire issues and we had to reboot many of our systems. We hope that in the future, we definitely have that system fixed, and we hope that you guys will be there in La Crosse and possibly even Iowa to support and cheer us on.
Any other questions or comments from board members? Mr. McKenna, go ahead.
What do you attribute to the change with the 24 freshmen coming on this year?
It started with the outreach. Up to this last year, we were a very small team. Quite frankly, we didn't have the time to do the outreach like we had wanted. We had always talked about it. We had always talked about possibly doing like some summertime day camps. But with only, around 10 to 12 members, not a lot of hands to make that accomplishment. This last spring, our outgoing seniors, who, by the way, have come back as alumni mentors to help the team further, they made a concerted effort to make sure they got to each and every school in the spring semester. And they achieved it. And not only that, they went to a couple of the private schools as well. They took the robot, it was on their own time, and they, spoke and stayed as long as the students had questions, as long as the teachers allowed them. That made a huge difference. On our 8th grade transition day at the high school, where 8th graders come up to kind of tour the building and where they can potentially sign up for clubs and activities, we had 49 freshmen sign up for the robotics team. That was in fact more than the freshman football team. And through, busy schedules, we offer a lot here at Sparta, which is outstanding, because I can personally say, being from Alaska, I never had half as many opportunities as we give the students of the Sparta community. Between that and, homework and academics, we've lost a few. I hope to see them next year. Maybe they're able to get their scheduling straightened out or their academics up to passing. And we'll see them again, and we will gladly take them when they're able or ready to, if they would like to. So
I guess to piggyback on you a little bit, the two words you said, number one, opportunity. I'm a huge believer that success is born in opportunity. The more opportunity we can provide, the better. Is there a level that you can reach that you can no longer support?
in terms of
I mean,
like
if
the
you did
size
this
of a
again,
team,
yes.
That's a tricky question. Right now, one of our biggest factors is space. We are very constrained. Our typical work nights, we are actually spread out in 3 different shops, which allows requires me, Mr. Gonke, our other mentors, to kind of rotate through to make sure everyone's staying safe, everyone is, being on task, doing what they're supposed to do. So I guess that's a good problem to have, being limited on space. Outside of that, an idea another team has done in the area and that I would love is the idea of a JV team. So one team that does a robot for competition and one team that does a robot that we would use at scrimmage, that we would use for going around and doing community outreach, things like that. In terms of the first organization, we also have a means to go downwards. First has 2 other competitions within their organization. There's the First Tech Challenge, which is the middle school level, and then there's the First Lego League, which is like the elementary school level. And those would, feed our program if we had those teams here in Sparta.
Any other questions, comments from board members? I just got to say, Mr. Lee, you're very humble with all of this. Can you just explain a little bit how your guys' season went last year and what it takes to get to Worlds and how close Sparta Robotans really
Sure.
were to that?
Sure, absolutely. The team, like I said, they put in probably 30 and dare I say sometimes 40 hours a week in the shop working on their robots up until competition time. Competitions, they're 3 days long. You're there from 7 in the morning till usually about 6 o'clock at night. If you break, you're fixing it. If you forgot to grab your spare parts, you're running to other teams and asking them if you can borrow a part for competition. That is one thing that First prides itself on. It's called gracious professionalism. It's cooperation. Your enemy in one match is your ally potentially in another match. And so it's a very high strung and stressful situation. Last year, the strategies our team employed, which was keeping it simple and doing what we do well and reliably every single match, earned us spots in the finals in both the Iowa and lacrosse regional. Our teams made it into the final matches of both of those regionals. And due to an unforeseen catastrophic failure of a gearbox, we lost the lacrosse regional, winning it literally by one act of our robot. In other words, our robot needed to climb to the tallest bar of the hangar, but the gearbox that did the climbing failed. Had we done that, our team would have had enough points to win that match, and we would have had a chance at going to Houston and Texas. So we were one match away or half a match away even from making it to the championships last year.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And the other thing I just want to comment on. So I went to the scrimmage yesterday, and to see the teamwork and the camaraderie, again, just our team, and then as a whole group, all these teams in the pit are helping each other out, working together. I think at one point I'm standing there where I got my safety glasses on, and we've got Charles on a computer, and he's doing something with technological stuff. They're trying to fix the swing arms and extension arms, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And I think if you haven't had a chance to see a scrimmage or a competition, you absolutely need to find an opportunity, because it's a world in and of itself. So we just want to congratulate you and thank you for being leaders here. So thank you
for supporting us.
And we do have some 3D created buttons or pins for the board members, which I'll get you get some ideas of gold, red, or black. So
Perfect.
we'll get you those.
Thanks so much. You guys have a great day. Great robot.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Item 2C, Sparta Area School District Technology Long Range Plan. Mr. Stearman.
Hey, so this is going to be a 10,000 foot overview of the technology budget. There's a lot that goes into it, and I've tried to group it into groups that make sense and an easy way to present this. I believe you all have the full spreadsheet and board docs if you want to look at the individual items or have questions on those. So what is in the technology budget? We have 6 big categories: staff devices, other hardware, classroom equipment, purchase services, student devices, and software and licenses. Those make up the bulk of what's in the technology budget. So I'll go through those one at a time. The first one is our yearly purchased services. So those are things where we're buying something from a service provider, and it's a yearly expense that recurs year over year. That's usually based on what we use. So we've got our phone system support and licensing. So that provides us with software updates for the phone system. Our telephone service, so actually being able to send and make calls through the district, faxing for student records and any other faxing needs for that. Our internet service for the entire district. And then we also have a line item for fiber location for Diggers Hotline and fiber repair. I don't know if you guys have noticed, there's been a lot of digging in town recently. So we've had a lot of that. So we contract out to have somebody mark where our fiber is so that when they come to dig, they're not going to put a hole through it. And then if they happen to do that, the budget for repairs for that. So that is around $36,000 a year. And like I said, that's a recurring every year. We pay right around that amount. Our budget for next year is 5% higher than it is this year, which is a pretty conservative increase year over year. Our next part is our yearly software and license budget. So this is the software that we use to do what we do. So Skyward is our biggest chunk of that. And that is somewhere going to be between 100 and 110,000 a year. That is probably far and away the biggest single line item on the technology budget. So that's what does Skyward Student and Skyward Finance. So that's the software we use to run the district for all of our operations. Microsoft licensing is our next biggest one. It's 25,000 a year. So that covers Microsoft Office on the staff computers. It covers on the PCs. It covers their Windows licensing. And then it covers the licensing for all of our servers that do things in the back. We've got print servers, file servers, and all that. So that's all rolled into the Microsoft licensing. Our Jamp device management is Jamp is what we use to manage all our iPads and MacBooks. So that's the software that lets us push updates to it, run reports, organize them, get them set up for staff efficiently. And then our next biggest one is our internet and content filtering and monitoring for students. So that's what student looks up something inappropriate on their device. It'll block that page. It'll send an alert to an administrator. If there's something else going on, it'll send them alerts for stuff like that. So that's a big student safety piece. And that's probably the fourth biggest one on the item. And then we have a whole bunch of other little ones that add up to around 38,000. So we've got Adobe, Cami, Zoom that we're using to stream this board meeting. And then just a bunch of other littler tools that add up for that. So our total expenditure for 23-24 that we're budgeting is 210,000 for that category. Our next one is hardware. So this is going to be non-like devices that people use. This is just like infrastructure hardware. So it's servers, networking, phone system, backup servers, battery backups, wireless access points. So those are on a rotation. Typically that stuff lasts longer than a device or is in service longer. So we run a 5 to 7 year rotation on those items. We currently have our inventory is around $265,000 worth of equipment. That's like our rolling average of what we have in service. For next year, we're looking at replacing 20 to 30,000 of that equipment. We're looking at new wireless access points in certain large areas, and then battery backup so that if we have power outages, phones and whatnot can still be used in the buildings. So that's for that category. Student devices is probably one of our biggest ones. We have 3,575 total devices that are in our student pool. They're on a 3 to 5 year replacement cycle, and it is $1.35 million for that entire pool. Our budget estimate for next year is $90,000. And if you notice that 90,000 doesn't really get you a third to a quarter of what that 1.35 million is. So we are holding off on upgrading our elementary school iPad upgrade for next year for budgetary reasons. So normally we would have another $500,000 probably that would have come up, 400,000 somewhere in that neighborhood to replace those, but we're choosing to put that off one more year. So that brings that budget down considerably. And I believe what is getting replaced is any damaged devices. So I think we have 40,000 set aside for damaged devices if that needed to be done. And then for SVLA, they use Chromebooks instead of our iPad. So if there's enrollment for that, we'll go with that. But 90,000 is our budget estimate for that for next year. Our classroom equipment budget, so that's Promethean boards, TVs, projectors, the computer labs at the high school and the middle school. We have roughly $500,000 in inventory of like displays, and then roughly 135,000 in the PC labs and computer labs. We are going to roll with everything we have for another year. So our budget for next year for that is $0. We're not planning any upgrades in those. We're going to hold off. Everything we have is functional and works. So same thing, budget considerations. We're going to reduce that spending. Normally we would do basically a fifth of that amount or try to keep up with the cycle. For staff devices, that's our MacBooks for teachers, iPads for teachers, EA iPads, MacBooks for central office, business office, laptops, secretary PCs, equipment for nutrition services. So we have 476 of those devices, and they're on a 3 to 5 year cycle. most of those were replaced last year or the year before, so we're pretty good on those. The $59,000 is actually a lease payment for the staff MacBooks. So those, we spread that cost out over 3 years. So that's the amount of the lease payment for the staff devices that'll come out of that for next year. So this is our 3-year budget summary. So it's kind of interesting. We spent 670,000 estimated, really close for this school year that we're currently in. Next year, with those cuts and not upgrading, we're looking at 428,000 for our projection for that. And then if you look at 24-25, because of all of the stuff that we've pushed off of next budget year onto the following, we've moved those items and said that we're going to try and do those in 24-25. So that makes that budget figure look a lot bigger than it would. But it's really saying this is our rotation. If we defer for a year, that's just going to move the cost to the next year. It's not going to get rid of the cost. So it's going to make that figure look really big for 24-25 as we don't do things for next year. So, and the biggest chunk of that is student devices, is iPad one-to-one devices is the biggest chunk of what's getting pushed off for that. Any questions?
Questions or comments from board members? Mr. McKenna, go ahead.
Could you go back to the student device one?
Yep.
So typical rotation, we'd be looking at doing pre-K and K.
So kindergarten just has classroom sets of iPads right now. So they have 8 to 10 iPads in a classroom. And then kindergarten through 5th grade is a one-to-one. So those would be the 2 that would have been due up for this coming year, like that we would have done next. So over the summer for next school year.
And what we have now, we own, we don't lease, correct?
We made our last lease payment on those this year. So typically to try and keep the costs even, we've had those devices for 4 years. At the end of the 4 years, when the lease is up, we would trade those all in and get some amount of money, whatever we get for them. And we would use that and sign a new lease for the new devices. So do another 4-year lease after that is what we would normally do. So what we're doing is we're going to keep them for 5 years. So for this 1 year, we're not going to have a lease payment essentially. So we'll save whatever that lease payment is by using those older devices. We'll lose a lot of that money in resale value. They will be worth less when they're 5 years old than they were for 4. 3 to 4 years is the typical sweet spot for trade-in. We may lose more than we saved, but at the very least for next year, there won't be a budget impact for it. We'll just see that $0 spend on those devices.
Approximately how many devices is that?
That is probably kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. That's probably 1,200, 1,300 devices, probably the $1,200 or 1,200 device range. It's probably about right. And then the year after that, the 6th through 12th grade ones were normally due up 24-25. So really, when you saw that big number for 24-25, it's because essentially pre-K through 8th grade iPads are all going to come due at one time, or they'll be up for their replacement at that one time in that 1 year.
Okay. Do you know off the top of your head approximately how much resale difference you're talking about for that year?
We have typically gotten somewhere between 125 and 160 for a 3 to 4 year iPad. And for the 5-year iPads that we traded in, we got $65 on the last one. You can't really compare it because a lot of it depends on what the technology is done on that time, what condition the iPads are in when we get them back. But roughly figure $80 a device less, $70 a device less, somewhere in there. We do have the numbers for trade-in, so like I know what they're worth right now, and next year we will get a quote that says this is what it would have been. So we'll know when we go to trade them in what we lost for it, but it's just an estimate at this point.
And Mr. Stearman, you said right now your projection is the loss will be larger than the gain this year, correct?
We are projecting that the overall loss would be either similar or that we would lose more than what a 4-year lease payment would be. It's kind of a wash because you figure if they're $400 for an iPad, it's $100 a year, give or take. So if that's what you lose in value, it's kind of a wash when you look at it that way. Might get lucky, might not. Hard to tell.
Other questions or comments from board members? Go ahead, Mrs. Lopez.
Thank you. I was wondering about the student damages and charger losses, that $40,000 estimate. Are those repairs done in-house? Are we paying a service for those to be repaired, or do we have insurance on that type of thing?
The high school devices have insurance for that. Those are the newest purchase ones that we did last year. And we did that on purpose because of what we'd been paying out previously for damages. The charger losses, we're just buying new chargers. So there's not really a repair to that. It's just purchasing ones for ones that get lost. And then the iPad with the broken screens get sent out. We don't do those in-house. They are extremely difficult to repair. They're glued together and there's a lot of broken glass. So we try to not handle those as much as we can. And really, realistically, we're looking at $90 to $100 in parts for something that we get charged $140 a device to get fixed. So it's not a ton. We'd have to buy some specialized equipment to get that glue off, and it just didn't seem feasible. We've looked into it a couple times to see if we could do it in-house, but they're not particularly easy to fix.
Other question or comments from board members?
I do.
Go ahead, Mr. Hendricks.
Getting back to the charger cords, do we not recoup any of that from families?
It depends. We don't recoup any of that from students who are on free and reduced status. We don't recoup any of it or have a hard time recouping it if they leave the district. We do issue fines for them if they are lost. Anything that's accidentally damaged, we cover as well. So if it's not lost, but just doesn't work, we'll cover that as well. So same thing for damages. We have a policy, could it be a policy that for the first accidental damage a year, the students aren't charged for it. If it's on purpose, we will charge or issue a fine for it. But the first accidental, which is the vast majority of them, is the students done it one time this year and it was an accident. We won't charge them for that either. So that's where that starts to add up. Is that policy and that and then for free and reduced, we don't charge either. So.
Thank you. And a year ago, security cameras was a big deal for us. What's the status of that?
I didn't have that on there because we don't have any. So we've replaced every camera in the district within the last 3 years. We're projecting a 5 to 7 life span on those 5 to 7 years. So we don't have anything in the next 4 years projected for any spend on that. The camera system that we bought doesn't have a yearly licensing fee. It was a one-time we bought it, it's ours. So for as long as we keep that. So we're expecting to go 5 to 7 years before we have an expense in that category. It is in the long range plan. If you look out 5 years down the road, for technology, 3 to 4 years is about as far out as you can go price wise and have a good idea of what the prices are going to be. When you get out to 7 years, it changes a lot. So.
And one last thing, this is a small thing, but I'm curious about this. We still have a fee so that we can be faxing student records in this day and age?
Yeah, there is a lot of, and I've spent a lot of time on this trying to reduce the amount of faxing we do. We do about 150 to 160 bucks a month worth of faxing. That's what our typical fax bill is. A lot of it is to Gunderson and Mayo, who do not seem to have a portal that we can use to upload data or to get data from. They prefer to fax. And then the other one is other school districts who will only take faxes for their student records or mailing a paper copy, and the fax is still cheaper than FedExing or mailing a copy. So those are the two biggies for why we still fax.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions or comments from board members?
I know,
Mr. Wells, go ahead.
yeah, I know that we used to do a student funded insurance program for those first accidental damages. Do you know why we don't do that anymore, or would you advocate for bringing that back?
So the big reasons we stopped doing it was I think we were charging maybe $10 or $20 a student, and we were getting $5,000 to $10,000 in revenue from that. And what we found was that the amount of work it took to collect that $5,000 was more than it was worth to have that little small piece of money to recoup. It also, there's the fairness issue. So if you were on free and reduced, you wouldn't, that insurance would just be given to you for free. So we just made the decision to give it to everybody. So everybody gets the same thing. It's definitely something that could be revisited.
Other questions or comments from board members?
I have one more.
Go ahead, absolutely.
I guess I'm not in love. I remember a year ago you standing here saying that we should buy new technology for the high school, because if you have the same technology in a kid's hands for 3 or 4 years, it's basically used up. And now you're telling us that grade schoolers are going to be fine. Are high schoolers harder on their stuff than grade school kids?
It's actually, wow, the middle school is probably the roughest on the devices. Elementary school is probably, elementary and higher actually pretty similar right now as far as our breakage rates. Slightly higher at the high school, but not a ton.
So do you have any idea what kind of shape this technology is in right now?
Yep. So out of our 1,300 iPads at the elementary school, there are currently 5 broken ones with cracked screens. So less than half of 1%. So from a condition perspective, we're actually doing really well at elementary. The iPads that they have are still supported by the most recent iPad OS, so they're not behind in anything. The biggest issues with the iPads is as they get older is the amount of storage space they have isn't enough for the amount of apps you want to put on, and then just that they run slower. So those would be the 2 things to watch out for. At this point, we haven't had any student run out of space on their iPad at the elementary school, so we're not looking at that. And the slowness is kind of subjective of what your level of comfort is. I think the elementary students are arguably more patient than the older students are with how they go. So I'm not in love with it either. If it was free, or if there was a way to do it and it fit with what our budget numbers we're trying to hit for next year are, I would advocate for replacing those ones for next year.
So with that, if there wasn't the monetary issue in the budget, where would you advocate first? Where's the first priority?
We would do it'd be Herman, so it'd be 1st through 4th grade would be the ones that we would do. And we would want to keep that building as a whole done as a bunch. That is going to be your biggest bunch. That's going to be like 1,000 or 900 out of that 1,200 though. It's going to be the vast majority of them.
Thank you.
And you moved right into the couple of questions that I have. So at that grade level, what was the budgetary impact if we decide not to defer and we do it this coming
It
year?
would be, we'd have to get quotes and whatnot, but the
Approximately.
it would be 100 to 120,000 for 1 year's lease payment. So we would lease those then. Otherwise it would be a $500,000 buy, more than likely to buy them outright. We've got a mix of both. We have a lot of devices that we bought outright and we have a lot that are leased. So it's just kind of a balancing that funding, and we've used ESSER money to buy some. We've used other things or where we've had. Otherwise we lease them to kind of spread that out and balance the budget a little bit better.
And with respect to knowing that Ms. Hauser is not here tonight, that 24-25 number is a large number. Do we have a general plan or idea of how we handle that, or what we're looking to do about that? Or is it more just kicking the can down the road, Mr. Russ?
Right now, it's kicking the can down the road until we can come up with a more formal plan to do that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Comments? Thank you, Mr. Stearman.
Thanks.
All right, item 3, the consent agenda. All board members, please take a moment to look everything over. And once you've had that opportunity, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll move approving the consent agenda.
I have a motion from Mr. Hendricks to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second from Mr. Wells. Any further questions or discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Burns Gilbert,
Yes.
Mr. Wells,
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Ms. Prestwood,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Schulte.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Item 4A, discussion and possible action to approve policy 2240. Mr. Russ.
All right, through the committee, and the committee of the whole and the workshop model, we've discussed 2240, which is a controversial subjects. Policy was vetted by a lot of the board members. We had community input. And this would be this will be the sixth time in theory that this is brought to the board. So just open for any questions or any feedback that you might have had prior to pending approval.
Questions or comments from board members? Mr. McKenna, go ahead.
So after 6 times, I'm not in love. And I don't know if there would be 16 times would make me be in love. I move to approve policy 2240.
I have a motion from Mr. McKenna to approve policy 2240. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second from Mr. Hendricks. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none. Mrs. Lopez, go ahead.
I would just like to say that I agree with Mr. McKenna. It's not a perfect policy, but it is a policy. It does give direction to our staff, which was needed. And with the revisiting of the policy in a year, I think that puts some responsibility on the district to track that. And I'm comfortable with it at this time. And I think it's probably the best it's going to be at this point.
Thank you, Mrs. Lopez. Any other comments or discussion at all?
Is that
Go ahead, Mr. Wells.
Is that 1 year a friendly amendment then? I don't think we.
I know we talked about that at the committee of the whole, that we would just
Yeah.
review it after a year.
Okay,
Yep.
so just general, but also a lot of the things that we discussed about that community climate culture, I think this policy does it very well, gives teachers the ability to speak with their minds when they have to and kind of binds them when they need to be bound. So it really provides good guidance, and that's why I fully support this policy.
Thank you, Mr. Wells. Other discussion or comments? I just want to thank the entire community for the opportunity. Again, 6 times, 2 months worth of opportunities to have discussion and great healthy conversation. And that's exactly what we had. So with that, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Item 4C, discussion and possible action to approve grants and donations. Mr. Russ.
All right, put up here so I can see it on my screen. I'd like to, for your approval, we have 2 for your approval tonight. Sparta FFA Alumni High School, very generous donation of $5,000 to for general use in the FFA. And then Jostens. Jostens is our yearbook provider, our picture vendor. And we have a very good relationship with them, and they've given a very generous donation for general supplies to Southside Early Learning Center for about $1,100.
Thank you for that, Mr. Russ. I would approve, or I would entertain a motion to approve the grants and donations as presented.
So moved.
I have a motion from Ms. Prestwood Funkhauser. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
A second from Mrs. Lopez. All in favor? Motion carried. Go ahead, Mr. Russ.
I'd like to, just for information, thank Biederman Jewelers for their generous donation, the Leslie and Athea Stanley for their generous donation, Monroe County Retired Educator Association, Sparta Rotary Club, First Sergeant Ricky and Kimberly Merritt, Jostens, Multistat, P&P Products, and the Monroe County Educator Association for their generous donations.
And on behalf of the board, we appreciate all of those. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Russ. Item 4D, discussion and possible action to approve furniture purchase for ISA in the amount of $76,676.05. Mr. Sanders.
So Innovation STEM Academy has the expansion grant. This is year 1. We have $150,000 budgeted. Much of that is going towards getting ready for adding up to 20 students to our school. We used to have 4 classrooms. Since with the realignment of classrooms in Meadowview, we now have 7. So this furniture would outfit 3 new classrooms and repurpose 2 of our existing classrooms. Working with the known vendor, the district has approved all of the things. The ISA governance board has approved this purchase. Just because it's over $20,000, we want to make sure you guys are on board. But the price does increase on Wednesday. So if we can please have approval tonight, we'll get it ordered tomorrow and save some money.
Thank you for that, Mr. Sanders. Any questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the furniture purchase for ISA in the amount of $76,676.05.
So moved.
I have a motion from Mr. Burns Gilbert. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second from Ms. Prestwood Funkhauser. Any further discussion or questions?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mr. Wells.
so I must have missed that. Is that money coming from our general budget or is that coming from a grant?
Go ahead, Mr. Russ.
The way this works, it is purchased through us, but reimbursed through the expansion grant. So overall, it's through the expansion grant.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Wells,
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks,
Yes.
Mr. Schulte,
Yes.
Ms. Prestwood,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Mr. Burns Gilbert.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you for that, Mr. Sanders. Item E, announcements and information, Mr. Russ.
Some upcoming events. On March 8th, we will be getting this out formally to the public tomorrow or Wednesday. We are going to have a facility workshop at SHS. We're going to be inviting community members, business owners, families, whoever wants to come, the various stakeholders to SHS to tour the Sparta High School's facility. We'll be giving them some information about the facility. And then the main part of it is to get their insight about how do they think our, not just SHS facility, but all of our district facilities are meeting the current and future needs of our district. So really excited to start that process and start that engagement with the community about what they think all of our district buildings are meeting the needs of our current and future students. And that'll be in the auditorium is what we're planning. And then we have the committee of the whole on the 13th here at Meadowview. And then we have on the 14th, a board candidate forum for the board members who have filed their candidacy papers. We're going to have a forum here. The Chamber of Commerce in High Point Charter School put that on. So that's at 6 o'clock here at Meadowview. On the 15th, we have a policy workshop in the Maplewood boardroom. And then we have the 27th for the full board at 6 o'clock. And then the election day on April 4th. So before that, that'll be here before we know it. I do want to give some facility update. We're kicking it off really by on the 8th of next week. We did have 4 architecture firms that we did interview for the facility assessment and master planning. And we have decided to go with Bray Architect. And that kickoff will be starting not next week, but the week after with a kickoff meeting with some stakeholders, some district stakeholders about how we're going to go through that process and that sort of thing. For the auditorium, that process is going very well. And next week, we're looking to get the company in to start talking to our various stakeholders. The company sent a wonderful email about how many mics, I can go on and on about the things I have no idea about. So we're going to have those people talk to the people that know how many mics, lights, curtains. I know the budget, so I answered that one. So anyway, but they're going to be tied together. We do have some funds unofficially earmarked in Fund 46, but that's all part of the facility process as well about what we're going to do and some ideas that we can improve those facilities. The water in Montgomery section intersection update. The city is looking for that facility assessment and they're waiting back on that vendor with that. The news and happenings, lots going on to say the least, besides today with some little ice, but no, a lot of great things have been happening. We have our district district music festival on Thursday, the 9th. That will be at SHS. So that's a very exciting where all of our choirs and bands come together to do that. And just a lot of good work being done. We're coming into the state assessment season. Next week, SHS juniors kick it off with the state required ACT. And then we go into forward, we go into pre-ACT, and we also have our spring maps going into that as well.
Mr. Russ, how are all the dodgeball games going?
My daughter says they're going very well, and I've been invited to the next dodgeball game, so we'll have to see. or I'll have to brush up on Dutch dodge and duck or whatever the saying goes that they say.
I think you're absolutely going to have to practice up on that. Mrs. Lopez, go ahead.
Mr. Est, for the March 8th facility workshop, you said that everyone will meet in the auditorium. Did you also say that they will have an opportunity to tour the school?
Yes, we're going to meet in the auditorium and then we have 4 or 5 tour guides all ready to go. We're going to divvy up and we're going to hit the highlights of SHS in different ways. So if we have 40 people there, we'll take tours of 10 and we'll go in different areas. This is where the freshman scavenger hunt really comes in because everyone is scattered throughout the whole thing as a guide. So it'll be, we're really looking forward to this evening and really great dialogue about what the community feels how our facilities can meet the needs of our kids.
So they will have an opportunity to see the tech ed department,
Yes.
the locker rooms, the kitchen. A lot of, we
Everything.
have some wonderful, we have some
Everything.
great things, but they'll be. able to
We
see
have
it
some
all.
great things, and I know Mr. Lee mentioned some space issues. You'll be able to walk through the space that he refers to. The kitchen, you'll be able to see the kitchen. We're probably not going to go through the kitchen just because that's not what we can do. But we'll try to get you down to the locker room if you can walk down the stairs, because unfortunately that's not ADA compliant because it was built so long ago. We're going to see the greenhouse. We're going to see our welding shop that's not attached to us. We're going to see our classrooms. We're going to see
Gyms.
our library. We're going to see everything that we can show you. And then we're not anticipating a good weather day. Surprise. And then I haven't talked to Mr. Blaha about this, but he's going to give an overview of our current athletic and outdoor space needs of the district as well, to give everybody a sense about how old our track is and how well it is or is not necessarily doing.
So please come out.
Please come out.
Thank you for that, Mr. Russ. Any other questions or comments from Mr. Russ? All right, item 4F, discussion and possible action to move to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, parent 1, parent C, parent E, parent F, for the purpose of 1, discussion of initial proposal of base wage negotiations with the Sparta Education Association, and 2, considering employment compensation of administrators, classified and middle management staff. Do I have a motion?
I will make that motion.
I have a motion from Mrs. Lopez. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
A second from Mr. Wells. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. McKenna,
Yes.
Mr. Wells,
Yes.
Ms. Prestwood,
Yes.
Mr. Schulte,
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks,
Yes.
Mr. Burns Gilbert,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. We are in closed session.